Hello, everyone. I am Stephen Torres, Faculty Director here at Career Launch. And today I'm with
Sean O'Keefe, Founder, Partner, and Chief Impact Officer at Career Launch. We are a social enterprise that partners with colleges and career programs to scale the teaching of career exploration, relationship building with professionals, and launching a holistic internship or job search. We're bringing you this student stream, this live stream, as a means to be able to provide value to students directly who are students who do not attend a college that is one of our partners. So thank you. Great to have you here, Henning, and thanks again for all your co-hosting, Stephen.
Yes, excited. Today we have another amazing guest. Henning Jolivet is here joining us. And Henning was a student of Sean's, and we're going to talk about his career journey from Santa Clara University to now working in finance, which is very exciting. So Henning, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit. You had Sean just a few years ago, if I'm not mistaken, right? So let's talk about how you found the career launch method.
Yeah, so it was the fall of my junior year. So that was probably September, October 2018. And, I was fortunate enough to, be enrolled in one of his classes. I think it was called Business Writing and Communication. Just to start, it was the most impactful class that I've had at Santa Clara. And maybe I can get into why.
Yeah, I'd love, what made it so impactful? I'm curious.
Yeah, so, first of all, the methods and, the guidance and advice that I received in this class was absolutely phenomenal. And it really did change the trajectory of my life. So, let's start off with, being a junior in college. You have all this immense pressure of, getting an internship, because if you don't get an internship, you're not going to be successful, right? Like that's kind of the message.
Yeah.
So here I am. I'm an athlete, so I didn't have a lot of time to, really strengthen relationships that I have with people in the workforce and things like that. So Sean's methods really boosted me up, and he was able to turn someone that was maybe a little insecure and probably irrelevant in the workforce to someone that's confident and ambitious.
Now, so, I want to talk. So, Henning, you mentioned something here, and we didn't get into it when we first spoke. But so you were also a student athlete at the time.
Yes. So I played soccer all 4 years.
Okay. And I want to talk a little about this, because I think for other student athletes and just other students, there's this, people don't understand that there's a lot of time that student athletes put in outside of just, game day, right?
Yes. So it's 2 to 3 hours of practices a day, and treatments before and after practice. It's doing videos with coaches and team meetings and whatnot. So it's actually it's super time intensive.
Gotcha. And the nice thing is, though, is that all the professors, they don't, you don't have to actually do any work for classes anymore when you're a student athlete, correct?
I wish that was the case.
I'm teasing,
that was the
right?
case in Sean's class.
Yeah, and so I think what's important about this is, especially because I think there's a lot of people who are student athletes, but also people who have to work to support themselves through school, because being a student athlete is essentially, a part to full-time job, depending on the sport, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah, and then, on top of that, I also held a couple of part-time jobs because I wanted to have a little money in my pocket. So I think that the method is great, that it's impactful, and it really allows you to focus on what's important so that you don't waste your time.
Yeah. And I think that's what you just said is so key, right? Is that you have to be able to, especially when you have so much going on like you did, you have to be able to hone in and make those, 30 minutes, hour, 2 hours you have a week to focus on what is that internship, what is that career, and really optimize that time. And that's what kind of you were able to do. So
Yeah.
sorry, I didn't mean to get sidetracked with that, but I thought that was really interesting. And I think for other people out there who may watch this that may be thinking, well, gosh, I have all this other stuff going on. I have to support myself. I'm a student athlete. You kind of give validity that, hey, look, this process can really help. So let's get into the process as you started going through it. And you were taking Sean's class. What were some of the things that really stood out?
Yeah, so I think what really stood out is that the main teaching is show people that you care. Reach out 1,000 times, you're going to get a response back, and that person's going to be like, wow, Henning found my personal email. Henning sent me a letter. Henning really cares. Henning really cares about his future, and Henning really cares about this company. So I think that's the main message is being able to market yourself as a person who cares. And I think that's the most important thing. And I've taken that into anything that I've done, because it's pivotal.
Wow. That was so important. And Sean, could you talk a little bit about this concept? How do you help folks like Henning learn this caring piece?
Yeah, so it's really important. The care part is making sure you take the time to do your research, due diligence, whatever you want to call it, on the front end. Henning jokes and says, 1,000 times. You want to be active and reaching out to people. In the career launch method, we have a strategy of a certain number of times on certain days, different modalities, and then at some point you give up and you cross a person off your list if they don't get a response. But inside of the methodology, one of the things that's really important to do if you're going to reach out to a professional at an organization where you'd be interested in working at, you need to make sure that person doesn't feel like the message you're sending is a copy and paste. If they get that feeling, the student is not going to get a response. And so, what I encourage students to do is to make sure that people know that you care. You've done your homework. You've probably looked at their LinkedIn profile, their biography, if they have one on their their company website, and then allude to that in a handcrafted, customized outreach to each individual professional that you reach out to.
And I think that what you said is so important there, Sean, because Henning, as you probably know, Sean does give you like templates, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, it's very it's structured. So like at first when you kind of talk about it in the abstract, you're like, oh my God, I won't be able to do this. I don't know what to do. But it's a process, and if you dedicate time and effort into the process, it will pay off.
Yeah. And then I want to talk a little bit about what did you do then to customize some of these things for your internships? Or let's walk through. So you're going through the class.
Yep.
And I know you have this assignment to have these career conversations, right?
Yep.
How did that play out? Could you share with us that story?
Yeah. So, so I was able to get an internship at Adobe. That was, it's very competitive to get it, especially in finance.
Okay. Wait. So you can't just drop in. Okay, we got an internship at Adobe. I want people to hear the process.
Let me start with I was just going to start with the product.
How did that happen?
Yeah.
How does this happen?
Okay. Yeah. So like I said, I really, really, really wanted to work at Adobe, and I had I followed the method. I emailed a lot of individuals, no response. I followed up. No response. I was really crafting these.
Okay, wait. So you're doing the program.
I'm doing it.
You're following. You're reaching out to people, and you get nothing.
I get nothing. And then Sean's like, Henning, just stay the course.
So like, you're getting nothing. Why did you keep going? Right? If you go and you don't score a goal, everybody knows you stop playing the game.
Exactly. I guess it was just the faith in the process, and it was just I might as well do it and see what happens. So then I follow up, no response, cold call, no response, no return calls, and then I took it a step further with the process, and I sent the CFO, and the head of finance a letter that I wrote by hand. And
Okay. We
wait.
got to stop there. You sent are you ridiculous? Henning,
Sent a letter.
you're a junior in college. You
Yep.
cannot send an actual letter. Like you went and got like an envelope, like a physical letter.
And I dropped it in the box, and I was like, oh, all right.
With stamps. You
This is my
used a
last
stamp.
Stamp. I stamped it up. I licked the envelope, everything, shut into the box.
What are you thinking, man?
Yep. So yeah, and and then a couple days after, I get a rejection email from Adobe. A rejection
Okay.
email. I'm like, I did all of this work for nothing. However, a couple days later, I get an email from the recruiter saying that someone high up got my letter and that they were so impressed by my actions that they wanted me to attend the final round interview. So, yeah.
So I would, just so that everybody understands, you received the rejection letter that says we are not moving forward with you.
Exactly. And that's when I was like, okay, maybe the process didn't work. And then I get a message from the recruiter saying that they were so impressed that they wanted to move me to the final round. So there's a first round, a second round, and a final round. I skipped all of those and I just went to the final round.
Oh, wow. So now this isn't fair, right? This is totally not fair because you basically figured out how to position yourself that completely stands out from the crowd.
Because I was able to show them that I cared.
That's not fair. That's completely not fair. Nobody else can do that. Nobody else can go and do the research, right? Nobody else can send a letter. Only Henning could do this.
That's why there's a lot when you get rejected from a job. There's so much that was left on the table. So many stones not unturned. So, so like the first part was getting the interview. Luckily, I had already prepped to get the interview because I was so confident in the method, so got the interview. I showed up. It was 5 30-minute interviews. I brought 4 copies of my resume, in addition to the one that I always bring, because that's what the method says, right? To like bring a lot of extra versions of it. They already sent out your interviewer list, so I knew who was interviewing me, right? And I get there and they tell me that other people are actually interviewing me and that no one had a copy of my resume. So I was able to give each and every one of them a copy of my resume, and they told me that no one else brought extra copies. They only brought 2. Only brought 2, and that made a difference. Additionally, I bought samples of my work in what Sean calls your brag book, and that was a portfolio of work that I've done that matches with my story. The feedback I got was no one brought work. No one had any tangible evidence of what they do, and no one's story was as smooth as mine. And the next day I got a call saying that I did an outstanding job, that they've never interviewed a candidate like this, and that even though I was lacking in some areas, that I made up for it with the amount that I cared, with the amount that I prepped, and that my story was very fluid. So I think overall the key point is it's not over till it's over, and trust the process.
Wow. Sean, what is your response to this? I mean, I'm just sitting here going, yeah.
Absolutely. I feel like a proud older brother. It's just, and then that's why I love doing what we do. My life was changed because of a professor who helped me and guided me, and now to be able to bring similar teachings to other students and have the impact like this, it's just there's not a better feeling to be able to make such an impact, like Henning said. And so it's so fun to relive this. It was fun a couple of years ago, and this is so great to hear it again. Yeah.
So Henning, let's kind of do a a reflection here of the entire process. So you wanted to have an internship at Adobe.
Yes.
Right. So this is part of as Sean would say, the discernment process, right?
Yep.
And you went through the quote unquote normal channels and it wasn't quite working.
Nope.
And so you use the methods, the things that Sean teaches as far as being proactive, how to reach out, and those type of things. And what that did, like if you look at all the other candidates are here, what you're talking about is you were doing this.
Yep.
Right.
And I think the key point is the method really puts you in a very uncomfortable position to grow.
Yeah.
Because while everyone's doing 10%, you're at least doing 60. You're doing 60 on an easy day. So, it separates you.
Yeah. And Henning, let me ask you, I'm going to ask you a really important question. Can anybody have done this?
It didn't work because I'm smart. It didn't work because I'm attractive or whatever, because I'm better than anyone else. It worked because I worked hard. And if people work hard, they can have the same result.
Right. That is exactly what I want everyone to understand as you watch this, is the process works. Right. The process works. All right. So you ended up with the internship at Adobe, and this was your junior summer. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And then after that, now how did you transition then from tech into finance? Were you able to use some of the same principles? Tell us how that all worked out.
Yeah. So the first internship, like I said, at Adobe really changed the trajectory of my life, right? So I was able to network while I was at Adobe, in the network after using the same principles, right? And then I was able to actually use the experience that I had at Adobe to transition those skills into the job that I'm doing now. So it was a great stepping stone.
And how did you make that was there a conscious decision that, I like tech, this is cool, but I really want to get into more of a financial services type of role? Tell us how that played out. You were majoring in finance, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So,
yes.
Tell us.
So, it all kind of came to be as I was doing the networking, like the general outreach. Mm-hmm. And, as I was applying to different jobs, while I was calling people, while I was sending letters still, right? People took the time to tell me, hey, I think this would be a better fit for you. I think this is a better way to look at things. So I believe that the networking piece in pursuing other opportunities, allowed me to figure out what I wanted to do.
Okay, so, now I got to ask you, were you just like a natural, amazing networker before?
No, I was very timid. I was like talking to people on the phone. I was like, are we in the 80s? That's what I thought about it. So it made me very, very uncomfortable.
And why did you do it?
To this day, I'm just like, was it worth it? Heck yeah. So I don't even worry about, why, but it was it's phenomenal. It pushed me, and I'm so very thankful for the method, or I would not be here without it.
Okay, so you started doing this networking, and then how did you find what you ultimately went into after school?
Yeah, so so now I work at a large bank, and I did a lot of networking within that, in the organization, and they're like, oh, this opportunity is opening up, this opportunity is opening up. So it was more about finding opportunities that I would not have been able to find, by myself. Yeah.
And was there anything specific that really led you to do that? Or was it just, from here, asking this person, having this career conversation, oh, you should check this out, you should check this out?
Yeah, it's more about showing people that you care, and then they care so much about you that they want to help you out by saying, hey, this is available and this is available. So while you're not always able to force yourself into doing what you want to do, if people know that you care, they'll bend over backwards to make sure that you're set. And that's kind of what happened with me.
Gotcha. Right? All right, and then that led you into working at a large bank. Yep. And now, as you look at this kind of method, I think nowadays they say the average person stays at their job for 1 to 2 years. So who knows what the future holds? But do you think this process that you've learned is going to be beneficial as you move forward? Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so it worked in the past, and then you ask yourself, is it going to work in the future? And that's a 110% yes. It definitely will. You develop a skill set of like soft skills that a lot of people just don't have, and it takes a lot of effort to develop these skills, right? It's not like coding or whatever. It's like you have to find something within yourself to be able to connect with others and to make people care about you or about what you're doing as much as you do. Yeah. So, if I look for opportunities elsewhere, this is the method that I will be using.
That's awesome. Sean, as we get ready to wrap up here, I'm curious from your perspective, how do you think these skills for someone like Henning, who's used it in college, and now he's out in the quote unquote real world because he's no longer taking formal classes. How do you think the method, is adaptable to those type of folks after they have their first career, they're working for a couple of years, and as they look maybe to make that transition and up the ladder of success? How do you think that the method translates?
Yeah, very well. So you think about reactive and proactive job search strategies, and the career launch method is, it includes both, but it's heavily focused on being proactive, being intentional, being strategic. And once you learn the method and you can overcome the psychological hurdle of, hey, this is a little bit outside my comfort zone, but what do I have to lose? Maybe a little bit of time, but that's it. But most students would be spending that time, or professionals, applying to jobs online. And there's nothing wrong with applying to jobs online. If you can get a job that you want through an online application, terrific. But as we said in previous student streams, you're 12 times more likely to get a job that you applied for online if you have an internal advocate. So if you don't come from a family or a background or a community where you have an internal advocate built into your life, then you should work hard to try and develop an internal advocate from scratch. And that's what the career launch method does to increase your opportunities for the jobs that you apply to online. And then outside of the online application, which we would call a reactive method, you can also apply being 100% proactive and making a list of organizations you'd like to work for and approach those as a way to get in the door. So I have no doubt, I'm sure, Henny, I know you love the job that you have now, but if and when the time comes in the future, I can tell that you'll be both proactive and reactive, and probably more heavily focused on the proactive and being intentional and strategic, right?
100%.
I think, Sean, there's something that you said there that was so key, that having an internal candidate or internal advocate, you are 12 times more likely to get a position. And Henning, you are a perfect example of that. Right? Now, what I want everyone who's watching to understand is that sometimes you may have an internal advocate. Other times, you can create one. And that's what Henning did, right? He created his own internal advocate. And maybe it's just me, but from what you shared, it sounds like, given the rejection letter, that without an internal advocate, you don't get that internship.
Exactly. So
Man, that's so awesome. So last thing here, Henning, from you, any advice that you would give to those students out there who may be in your situation where they're student athletes or they have a lot going on, maybe they don't have the career launch method, at their school yet, but any advice you would give them as they pursue their internships and jobs that they want?
Yeah, I just say talk to anyone and everyone. Make sure that your name gets out there. Make sure that people know what you're about, and find a little bit of time each day to further your life
Man, that's all. And care.
and care.
And care. Well, that is fantastic. I think we'll wrap it up on that. And for everyone, if you liked what you're hearing and you want to know some of the steps that Henning went through in Sean's class, you can actually see across the bottom there, you can actually get 2 free chapters of Sean's upcoming book. It's scheduled to be released in May, but you can get 2 free chapters to kind of see how this process actually works and how it can work for you. Just go to the launchyourcareerbook.com/preview. You'll sign up. You'll get those 2 free chapters. We also every week have these student streams where we share these stories. And in April, we're actually doing a masterclass on the 2 golden rules on how to negotiate your job or internship offer. So I would encourage those of you who want to learn more about that to tune into that. Well, thank you, everyone. We appreciate your time. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Henning. This was really amazing. And we'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thanks so much, Henning.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.